Okay, so please let me know if you see the presentation.
We did 1 second ago,
Okay, now?
and now we see it. Yes.
Okay, so we can start now. I am Victoria Rozbicka. I am an information point of the European in Wrocław, Poland. And I would like to ask you if you can tell me more about your exchange and your project.
So, people from high school, so Slovak and Portuguese as well as Polish descent, just went to Erasmus Plus exchange project, and basically that's the thing.
Okay, and I have one more further question. If you are 18 years old or more or less, can you vote in the European elections this year? Or not?
Yes. Some of us, yes.
Uh,
Okay, some of you yes, some no, not yet. All right, so we can start. Today I would like to talk with you about the European Union citizenship, national and European identity. And to begin with, I would like to ask you, what is for you the European Union? What does it mean for you?
well, for me, like it is, it's a collection of different people in one alliance that is economical and social, and like makes it so we don't start under world war because we are all connected economically. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's economical, social, and something more. Do you think about some more connections between our countries? Not only economical and social, but also political,
Educational.
right? And this is the shortest possible definition of the EU. The European Union is a unique economic and political partnership between 27 European countries. And I would like to provide you basic information about the EU. Europe is one from the seven continents, and Europe has over 740 million inhabitants. However, the European Union is just now 27 member states union, and it has over 448 million inhabitants. So it's a little bit more than half of the whole Europe population. And I would like to talk with you a little bit about the population of European Union membership countries. So, as you can see, the biggest country is Germany, and France, Italy, Spain, then Poland. And based on this population of the membership countries, we have the representation in the European Parliament. For example, Poland will choose 52 members of the European Parliament in the elections in June. Portugal is a little bit smaller country, so Portugal will have a representation of 21 people, and Slovakia only 14 representatives in the European Parliament. And I would like to ask you, maybe you are too young to remember it, but now we, Poland and Slovakia, we will have the 20th anniversary of joining the EU. Maybe you can tell me more how you feel about it, and if you are going to celebrate it in your schools or in your cities. Maybe you are going to attend some celebration about it.
I don't know. I haven't heard about any celebrations yet, maybe. like, but a lot of things are happening with the elections of parliament, European Parliament. So I think there's a focus on that. Probably something will happen.
Yes, for example, there will be some kind of a celebration in Żitawa, Zitau. It's on the border of Poland, Czech Republic, and Germany. But coming back to the topics, to our topic, um, Slovakia and Poland, with some other countries, joined the EU in 2004. Portugal did it much earlier in 1986. But our history is a little bit similar. Not only Poland and Slovakia, but also Portugal had to meet a certain Copenhagen criteria to join the EU, because EU is the union of democratic free market countries. So to join the EU, we had to provide some significant changes in our political systems. So it was only possible to join the European Union based on our revolutions, based on the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia back then, based on the Solidarity movement in Poland. But it was also similar in Portugal. The Carnation Revolution made the joining of the European Union possible. And the newest member of the EU is Croatia. Croatia joined the European Union in 2013, but it was also obligatory for this country to meet the Copenhagen criteria, and also candidates from the Western Balkans and Ukraine, Georgia, and Turkey had to have to meet this criteria. And now I would like to talk with you a little bit about the symbols of the EU. The EU motto is United in Diversity, which means that we have many cultures, many languages in the European Union. However, it is the most important to be united and to see these differences as our potential and as our richness of our European region. The European anthem is Ode to Joy. It's just a melody, because we don't want to just promote one language. So we decided to use this melody as an anthem. Euro. It is obligatory for all countries to change their own currency for euro. The only exception is Denmark. They don't have to change their currency at all. This is the flag of European Union, of course, and 9th of May is Europe Day. It's the anniversary of the Schuman Declaration in the 50s, when he started promoting the project of the United Europe to promote peace and cooperation and economic growth. And I would like to ask you if you know what is it? What you can see now on my screen. Well, it is not so popular anymore. However, there was a project to have this mascot, and it looked different for each member state. This is Sirius, and this is our Polish Sirius. Sometimes in the representation of European Parliament, we use it here in Wrocław and also in Warsaw. However, this idea wasn't promoted so much. And now I have a little quiz for you about, like, not national symbols, but like more cultural symbols of the member states of the European Union. Which country is it in the city?
Paris.
Of course. This one?
Poland.
Yes. This one?
Czech Republic.
Yes, Czech Republic, Kystek. Also, we can consider it a little bit as a Slovak symbol. This one? Yes. This one?
Austria.
Yes, Austria.
Greece.
Greece.
Holland. Netherlands.
Yeah.
Romania. Sweden. Belgium.
This one is a little bit more difficult.
Belgium.
It's Belgium. It's in Brussels. Okay, and now let's continue. I would like to talk with you today mostly about the citizenship. So, the citizenship is mostly a legal relationship between citizens and the state. Uh, and it includes not only rights but also responsibilities. For example, you have to pay taxes, you have to follow the national law, and it is um, basically a membership and alliance to a sovereign state. And it includes not only active political rights, for example, to vote and stand in elections, but full civil rights and social rights. And I would like to ask you, what does it mean for you to be a citizen of Poland, Slovakia, and Portugal? Anyone? We can continue if you don't want to answer. There isn't any problem. We can just skip this question.
Well, for example, I believe to be a Polish citizen is to argue about things and like do stuff. Yeah. I don't know what I want to say, but I said.
Okay. Anyone more? Okay, so let's continue. And national identity. It is a sense of separateness from other nations, and it is shaped by nation-building factors such as national symbols, language, national colors, awareness of the origin, history of the nation, national consciousness, blood ties, attitude toward cultural heritage, culture, territory, and national character. However, it is not obligatory to meet all these criteria. For example, the language, as we know, like Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, they are different nations, different countries, but they use the same language. And what does it mean for you to have Polish, Portuguese, Slovak national identity?
Princové halušky.
How do you differ from each other, from your colleagues from another countries? During your project, maybe you noticed anything. It can be even about the cousin that you like different food because you are more used to eating something else based on your nationality.
Well, mostly like our stereotypes are different because, like for example, Polish people and Slovak people have many differences, especially in stereotypes. But Portugal is pretty much very different in a way that people think about Portugal different things that other people about Slavic countries. Like for me, it is like very interesting, especially if it comes to talk with person from another country. about like what is like to be a Polish person.
Yes. And how do you feel on your own? What does it mean to be a Polish person for you? What is the most important about your identity, just for yourself, not based on, I don't know, a national symbol or a Pantadeusz book? It can be anything for you.
Well, for me, it is like mostly the history that bounds me with my grandparents. I have a grandmother that is almost 100 years old, and like understanding it that my country's history connects with like history of her life about everything that happened to her during, for example, the war, the interwar period, the communist era, and stuff like that. That makes me pretty much feel like I'm actually Polish. That I actually can identify with the past, for example.
Yes, of course. And maybe someone from the Slovak or Portuguese group can comment it. Do you feel the same? Do you feel connected to your nation mostly based on the history, or there's something else which is more important for you?
For me personally, it's like High Tatras. Every time I drive by or something, I feel like, yeah, this is our Slovak national pride. And I feel like proud of this.
Okay, so maybe now someone from Portugal.
I like our culture, like the warmth of the people, not saying. Uh, I like in Portugal, everyone talks about everything with a stranger. Like I can meet a stranger in the street, and they tell me their whole life. Like I like it a lot. And it's just true. Like
Okay.
I know these guys for 3 days and they already know all my life and I know theirs.
Okay, and what do you think about the language? Because your language is much more common than Polish and Slovak. There are more countries in the world where people speak Portuguese as the first language, as the mother language. And do you think that due to that language is less important for as a part of your national identity, or it doesn't matter? It's still as important factor as for other people from the countries where their language is not so popular abroad. Okay, you don't have to answer these questions. Uh, so I would like to talk with you about the European identity. Like the European identity, we can define as the feeling of being European, feeling connected to Europe, to its history, culture, and it is shaped as a result of the development of European integration.
Okay, so like I take my like nationality first and then European, but that doesn't mean I feel less European that I feel Polish.
Okay,
But like I know that I am Polish first.
okay,
That's a weird feeling that like uh, I feel connected to all the people that actually share the values that I share, the culture that I share with. Even the most simple things that I do can also be the same things that, for example, a person living in Porto or the person living in like Nitra can do the same as I am doing, like for example, in Sosnowiec. But like,
yeah,
yeah, and that is the main reason why I feel European. That like, for example, uh, yesterday was like national evening and I
yeah.
ate like some Swedes from Slovakia, and like it's very similar to Poland, yet so different. And that was for me pretty much amazing. That like we live like almost next to each other, but like we are so different in a way, but we are so similar. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay, I get your point. And is it more important for you to participate in the country elections, in the parliament, president elections in your own country, or is it more important for you to vote in the European elections, or is it the same? How do you feel?
I personally think that. Come closer. Oh, okay.
Could you please repeat?
Um, I personally think that like both elections are important because they all affect our life. I mean, we are both in. I mean, I'm from Poland, so both the Polish elections and the European Union elections they all affect me and other people. So I just think that they are like just as important.
Okay, so maybe someone from Portugal would like to answer this question.
I I personally feel basically the same. I think they are both very important. The Portuguese elections are important because they have more like a direct impact in our life. But the European elections are also important because they have an impact in a bunch of people's life in every country.
All right. Okay, so I would like to show you some data, and these are data from the Europe Barometer. And in 2023, 87% of respondents agree that they feel that they are citizens of the European Union, and more than 60% totally agree. However, it differs in countries. For example, people in France, Czech Republic, and Croatia don't feel so much connected to the European Union citizenship idea, but people from, for example, Spain, Poland, Estonia, they much better have feel that they are a citizen of the European Union. Maybe you have any idea why is it like that? Why some countries are more skeptical about this idea of the European Union citizenship, and some others are more enthusiastic about it?
I think it really depends also on parliament in their country and politicians, and that's really influencing people on their opinion on European Union, European citizenship.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, it's just a topic to have some reflection on it. It's not a question with one proper answer. And exactly half of the respondents declared that they feel well informed about their rights as citizens of the EU. Uh, and I would like to ask you, do you feel well informed? What does the European Union citizenship provide you?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me some examples.
For example, Schengen.
Not really. Like a little bit, yes, but you don't have to be the European Union citizen and to be in Schengen. For example, Switzerland is not in the European Union, but it is in Schengen, and Ireland is in the European Union, but it is not in Schengen. But yes, it is a little bit connected. Something more?
Well, I can have an a little impact in like elections of European Union. Yeah.
Yes, you can stand as a candidate and you can vote. Okay, so the European Union citizenship is considered as a major factor in the creation of a European identity. And like national citizenship, it refers to a relationship between the citizen and the European Union. So it is defined by rights, for example, a right to vote, to stand as a candidate, duties, for example, you have to follow the law of the European Union and for the country you live in, and political participation, which is not only about the election process, but also about feeling a citizen and participate, for example, in non-governmental organization, volunteering, etc. And the European Union citizenship is granted automatically to anyone who holds the nationality of an European Union country, which means you don't have to apply for the European Union citizenship when you are Slovak, Polish, Portuguese, Spanish, German, etc. You automatically have the European Union citizenship, and your passport or an identity card provides not only that you are a citizen of this country, but also that you have European Union citizenship. And so, in the specific cases, when you lose a nationality, it may directly mean that you also lose the European Union citizenship. But it is mostly about the people who gain the citizenship of the EU country. Maastricht Treaty from 1992 is considered as the fundamental act establishing the European Union with its citizenship. However, there is also something else which is important for the European Union citizenship. Maybe you know which treaty is it? It is the popular treaty, and some of you obviously know it. Maybe some of you are even from this city. Okay. Lisbon Treaty.
Oh.
Yes, Lisbon Treaty is also important. However, the main one was, of course, the Maastricht Treaty. So, let's talk about some rights of the European Union citizen. The right of free movement and residence within the territory of member states. So, you don't have to get visa to move to another country to study, work, 180 days. You have to apply for a temporary residency, and it could be a little bit different in every country, but basically the movement is free. You have the right to vote and to stand as a candidate in elections to the European Parliament and in municipal elections in the member state in which they reside. So they have to apply for the permanent residence under the same conditions as nationals of that state. So, for example, when if you'd like to move to Berlin and you will gain the permanent residence, you will be able to vote and stand as a candidate in municipal elections in Berlin. And moreover, we have the right to diplomatic protection in the territory of a third country by the diplomatic or consular authorities of another member state if their own country does not have diplomatic representation there. So, for example, when I and some Slovak friend we would like to travel to Mozambique and something will happen to us and we will need the diplomatic protection, we can visit the embassy, and the Portuguese embassy is obligated to help us in the same way as they would help to Portuguese citizens. Furthermore, we have the right to petition the European Parliament. We have the right to take a complaint to the Ombudsman, which means we can complain or even on our own country that we weren't treated correctly and we consider that some of our rights were violated. We have the right to be informed, which means we have the right to access European Parliament, Council and Commission documents subject to certain conditions. And we have the right to write to any European Union institution or body in one of the languages of the member state and to receive a response in the same language. So we don't have to speak German, French, or English in order to contact the EU institution. We can write to them in Portuguese, Slovak, and Polish, and they have to reply us in the same language because we have the access to be treated equally and to have certain informations. Okay, so let's come back to the right to move and transit freely within the territory of the member states. And now you can see that we can also move pretty freely to non-European Union country members from the Schengen area. So, for example, the Switzerland. But this rule can be a little bit different. Living abroad. So during your stay abroad, during your permanent residence in another European Union country, you are entitled to have the same rights, benefits, and privilege as citizen of that country. So, for example, when you live in France as Portuguese, Polish, or Slovak, your employee cannot say that you aren't entitled to have some bonus, some benefits. You are entitled to have all the same benefits as employers who are from this country. And deportation. In the exceptional case, your host country can deport you on grounds of public policy or public security, but only if the authorities can prove that you represent a genuine present or sufficiently serious threat affecting one of the fundamental interests of the society. So they can't deportate you based on the fact that, for example, you are unemployed for a longer period. I would like to talk with you about the percentage of national population living in other European Union member states. As we can see, people mostly emigrate from Romania, Croatia, Bulgaria, Portugal, and Lithuania, while people from Spain, Czechia, Germany, France, Malta are pretty unlikely to leave their home country, but the rights are the same for all the citizens. And coming back to the elections, if you are an European Union citizen living in another European Union country, you have the right to vote and to stand as a candidate, as we mentioned before, in municipal and European elections held in this country, and the conditions are the same for you as for its citizens. So, for example, it is illegal to say that more people have to sign your candidate proposal than it is obligatory for people from this country. The rules are the same. However, in Poland, residents have to be included in the electoral register kept by the municipality concerned. So, for example, when you are a foreigner living in Warsaw, you can't vote in municipality elections in Wrocław. Although this rule applies also for Polish citizens. Coming back to the right to diplomatic and consular protection, the embassy consulate of the other European member state include assistance in case of lost or stolen passport or identity card. They can issue you emergency travel documents, which will allow you to return home. In the case of arrest, you can contact the embassy and it will provide you information on the local legal system, or it can even help you to find a lawyer. Being victim of a crime, someone from the embassy could assist you and advise on the next steps in the terms of legal steps, but also regarding getting the medical help. In the case of the serious accident or illness, uh, staff of the embassy or consulate may help contact your insurance company, family, or friend for you if you end up in a hospital. Um, and it applies also in the case of death. For example, when you travel with someone and someone will die during this trip, the embassy of the other European member state may provide you help in order to register death and to help organizing the funeral, stuff like that. And the embassy is also obligated to help you to be evacuated, for example, in case of a conflict, as we seen, for example, after the Hamas attack, the embassies were obligated to help European Union citizens to be evacuated. Petition and consolations. I would like to ask you if you have ever assigned any petition, or you didn't have this kind of opportunity yet, or you are not interested in it at all.
Yes, I'm.
Okay, and would you like to tell us why did you don't have to tell us what kind of petition was it, but why do you think it is important to sign petitions?
Because we have great power of changing things through petitions, and we should use it.
Okay, and do you feel that petitions can really change anything?
I think it could.
All right, and do you feel it just about your national country, but will be helpful for you?
Yeah.
Any citizen, organization, or business in the European Union can contribute to the European Union lawmaking process by participating in public consultations. And you can also launch a petition to ask the European Commission to propose a new law or to ask the European Parliament to raise awareness or take a position of an issue of concern. And the best example of it is the European Citizens Initiative. It is a way to help shape the EU by calling on the European Commission to propose new laws. And it requires the collection of at least 1 million signatures. But you can get these signatures online. It is possible to sign this kind of petitions online. And for example, there are some proposals like Europe's for example, some European citizens propose that all European Union capitals should be connected by fast railway, which will be an eco-friendly and sustainable way to travel between the countries. Also, there are some proposals regarding taking great wealth to finance the ecological and social transition. You can check more proposal on the website of the European Citizens Initiative. And the best part, I would say, is that if you consider starting an initiative, you can consult the ICE forum for getting a legal and practical advice, which means you don't have to do it on your own. The European Union experts will provide you insufficient help in order to write this kind of petition and initiative. Let's come back to the right to take a complaint to the ombudsman. So any legal citizen or natural or legal person, resident legal person, which means also business, may take a complaint to the ombudsman directly or through a member of the European Parliament. Complaints from any other person or authority are not eligible, which means I can't complain for my friend's situation, but I can ask the member, for example, Polish member of the European Parliament to help me preparing this kind of complaint. The important fact is that the person bringing the complaint must do so within 2 years of being aware of the grounds on which it is based, and must have already approached the relevant organization about the facts involved. So, for example, the National Ombudsman. And currently, the Ombudsman of the European Union is Millie O'Reilly. She is an Irish activist, and she was also an Irish ombudsman before she became a European Union one. Public access to documents. For example, if you would like to write your master thesis about the European Union, you have the right of access to the documents of Union institutions, bodies, offices, and agencies. Documents which cannot be consulted directly on the register may be supplied on request. This is the case mostly for older documents dating from before 2001, and documents to which an exception to the right of access is provided by Article 4 of the regulation. So you can just write an email, and the safety institution is obligated to provide you the access to all documents which may be interested in. Right to good administration. This right includes that every person has the right to have his or her affairs handled impartially, fairly, and within a reasonable time by the institution, bodies, office, and the agencies of the Union. Every person has a right to be heard before any individual measure which would affect him or her will be taken. Every person have the right to access to his or her file while respecting the legitimate interest of confidentiality and of professional and business secrecy. And the administration is obligated to give reasons for its decisions. This is not only the right to good administration within the EU, but it is also a part of national laws, for example, of our constitution. This right is included in Polish, Slovak, and Portuguese constitution, as well as the treaties of the EU. So I would like to ask you if you have some further questions, and maybe some of you would like to sum up what we have said during this lesson.
Why doesn't Denmark have to get the euro as their currency ever?
Well, So Denmark, let's come back one of the first part of our presentation. So Denmark was one of the first countries to join the EU. It joined EU in 1973, and when the Maastricht Treaty was signed, Denmark decided that they will. Denmark representatives decided that they will sign it only in the case that Denmark would be able to stay with the euro currency. Other countries didn't ask about a closure like that. That's why we are obligated to join the eurozone in the future. However, it is our decision when we will do it. So it is the only exception. As for example, for Ireland, it is an exception that they didn't join the Schengen.
Why didn't like Ireland join the Schengen before? Like,
So it is Ireland's decision is connected, for example, with the United Kingdom policy about the migration. They decided that both Ireland and United Kingdom, back then when it was in the European Union before Brexit, that they would like to decide about migration processes on their own. And it is possible. You don't have to be in Schengen in order to be in the European Union, and you don't have to be in the European Union to be in Schengen, as we see, for example, in the case of the Switzerland. Any further questions? Maybe you have some thoughts about your first elections to the European Parliament, about voting.
I have to think about it also.
Okay. So we still have like 10 minutes left. Maybe you have some further questions, or you would like to ask something about our information point, or some purposes of the European Union, or mobility possibilities. If not, we can just end now.
What voice those corporation have like in the European Parliament? The corporations like car companies, etc., etc.
So, for example, companies have right to apply for the European Union funds, so for some dotations, but also they can participate in this European Citizens Initiative. They can more fair for them. For example, Polish farmers tried to influence the parliament. In some way, they succeed. In some, they have to follow the first shape of the European Union Green Deal. And it is very similar for the companies.
Okay, thank you.
For example, after the COVID pandemic, companies gain support from the European Union in order to fight with the risk on the rising unemployment and the potential crisis. And also companies have an access to an open European market, so they have more potential customers due to the fact of being the European Union.
Is there a possibility of United Kingdom rejoining again the European Union after like the initial problems that UK is facing right now, or is it like the topic is closed, like European Union wouldn't let the UK again into the Union? Or how would it be?
Uh, well, the Brexit was the precedence, so coming back to the European Union would be also a precedence, and in this case, we would need much more new regulations. So I can't answer your question right now because it didn't happen, and we don't predict that it will happen soon.
Okay.
Do you have more questions? Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. I wish you a pleasant stay. I don't know, you are in Poland, right? Now?
Yes.
Perfect. So I wish you a pleasant stay in Poland and to enjoy the rest of your project and further activities. And I would like to encourage you to follow our website of Punkt Informacyjny Unii Europejskiej we Wrocławiu on Facebook. We are also on the Instagram and you can follow our initiatives.
Thank you also.